All right, well, have you recently graduated or are about to enter the workforce? Are you looking for a summer job, or maybe you're just ready for something new career-wise?
In any case, how you perform during a job interview is arguably the most important part of the process. Local 4 lifestyle editor John Jordan joins us with a special guest and an expert on the topic.
Well, we are excited.
Yes. I want you to meet Christina McKenna from Bluestone Executive Communications in Birmingham. And Christina advises big shots in business, and I mean like really big shots, okay, with all kinds of like executive issues, and gives them advice with regard to themselves and employees. But she's here to give us her best job interview advice, and this applies to everybody.
Listen, everyone needs to hear this. So Christina, is there anyone who doesn't dread a job interview? I mean, how do we get past that discomfort factor? Like, I don't want to have to do this, but I have to do this if I want this job.
You know what, Tati, I think the truth is that whether you're interviewing to be the CEO or it's your first job, there is some anxiety about it. But the good news is you've already done the hard work. If you've landed the job interview, you're going to be in there to be able to sell yourself. And that is the key, to sell yourself in the interview. But to do that, you have to sell yourself to yourself before you even get in there. And that really comes down to knowing what your attributes are. Think of 3 or 4 great qualities that you have that align you with this job, and dig deep into your background, your experience to come up with those. They may be things like being creative or being a hard worker or a great team player.
So you're talking about like writing down assets that might be unlikely. How does that translate to a resume?
Well, you can put those in your resume as well, but you can, be thinking about how to align yourself so that the job interviewer is going to see you as a great fit for the job. Dig deep and do that. But as you're looking at your resume, put in things that may not seem so obvious, especially if you're new to the market. I was a babysitter. I mowed lawns in the summer to put myself through college. And think about maybe I was a shift leader at McDonald's and how that can translate to this job now.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, my question is LinkedIn a tool like only for professionals?
That's a great question. More and more, LinkedIn, which is the social media platform for professionals, is not just for corporate America, it's for everyone. In fact, just last week, I got a LinkedIn invitation from one of my high school son's friends. His only job experience is as a sandwich engineer at Jimmy John's, and he linked me in, and I accepted that invitation, and he's on his way to a great career.
Just for everyone.
It is for everyone. So
Right.
what about the actual in-person interview? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, one of the key things is showing up looking polished and professional, and John, you're expert at that.
Well, I think it's about, again, being polished, professional, pressed, not overdone, just clean. But I also think you have to make your absolute best effort. You don't cut any corners. But that's the image part, okay? What about like conduct?
Well, a key is being able to answer questions with confidence. And to be able to do that, it comes back to, again, knowing what your best attributes are and aligning those with what is required for the job. Now, this is the scariest part for most people, is being able to respond to questions. Remember, you don't have to know the answers to all the questions. The key is using the questions to divert the conversation, turn the conversation back to your best selling points.
Okay, now, here's the tough part. Waiting to hear back. It can be absolute torture, and maybe some imposter syndrome will even, kind of kick in. How do you deal with that?
Well, one of the keys is to not look at that as something that is a dread, but rather as another opportunity. Use the follow-up as an opportunity to come back to the conversation again. And one of the key ways we need to do that is with a thank you note. I think it's really imperative for everybody who's had a job interview to get back to the person who interviewed you, maybe everybody with whom you've spoken, within 24 hours. And that seems pretty fast, but it sends a signal that you are interested in this job, and it's a great place to reinforce the reasons why you think you're a great fit.
We talk about that a lot.
We do. We really do. So follow-ups are key, people, because for a minute there was this conversation that, oh, thank you notes are dated. They're not necessary. You say absolutely not.
They don't need to be written anymore. It used to be protocol was you had to put a stamp on it and look up the address. People will never see them if you do that now. Email is fine. Make sure you send an email within 24 hours, 36 at the outside. When I'm interviewing someone, if I don't hear back from them within that window, I think they're not interested.
Okay.
That's great advice. ask Christina what her first job was.
Christina, what was your first job?
I've had a lot of jobs. I'm now an executive coach. I was a college professor. I worked in corporate America for a time. And I was a TV reporter and anchor.
Okay.
But my very first job was right here at WDIV. I was a news writer for Mort Krim and Carmen Harlan. So I started right in this building, and it's still the cornerstone of everything that I love about my profession.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Cool, right?
This building does bring you back around, doesn't it?
Yeah, a great
He's
place.
one of those people too.
We are family.
You know what I mean?
We all come back eventually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is awesome. Wonderful advice, Christina. Thank you so much. And John, thank you so much
Thank you.
for putting
Good
the
luck.
segment together. He always picks up the best stuff.